Good evening, everyone. This is TC with $1stockpicks.com. I'm going to be doing the end-of-day plays for the stocks called at the end of day on the 10th of December, and then I'll do the ones that were called on the 11th of December and cover those recaps going into today's picks at 3:30 p.m. is the time of day that we initially put these out, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to make an entry into these stocks. All right, so rolling into the first one, we have SNOA. This is the daily chart. We called it again at the end of day on the 10th. Daily chart suggests a short-term move up to 88 cents. Looks like we fell short of that, but still looking kind of bullish there, holding the 5-day moving average. And of course, you can see the next day still holding the 5-day moving average. But let's switch to the 5-minute chart so you can see what happened here. Okay, so we called it at about 3:30, so the price is right here, went as high as 81 cents per share, dipped before close to about 79 cents, so that was a possibility for an entry at a low, but then opening the next day with a dip and with some shares trading around 80 cents, and that's where we saw some of the resistance for the dip. Okay, so we called that at 80 cents, pretty much closed out flat for the high of the day. So that puts it at 0% possible gain for the day. Moving into the next play, INNT. Okay, bringing up the daily chart. We have daily chart suggests a short-term move back up to the 332 level, where it nearly touched that day with all that volume. The next day, not as much volume, probably about a third of that volume. Went down and found support at the two moving averages, the 5-day and the 20-day. Let's switch to the 5-minute chart so we can get a better idea of where the action was at. Okay, again, we called it 3:30. We had an opportunity to get an entry somewhere around the probably as low as about $3. Intraday, or even pre-market, hit as high as 330, 327. Yeah, 330 right there. You can see it at open at about 7 o'clock. That's tradable for TD Ameritrade and E-Trade. They can make trades as early as 7 o'clock, I believe, a.m. That's a pre-market extended hour call if you're using Robinhood or Webull. Actually, Webull, you can trade extended hours. But Robinhood, I believe it's just a hour before and after, about an hour after. So again, INNT was called at about $3. 3% gain on that was going to be at, let me just bring that up for you, would be 309. So the high of day was 318, so you're looking at a 6% potential gain there. So congratulations to you if you traded that well. Again, like I said, keep an eye on it after hours and also pre-market. There are opportunities there, but even at open within the first, within the first 15 minutes, we went up and hit the 318 for the high of day there. All right, moving into the next one, ASNS. Okay, well, let me get to my daily chart here. So this is one that's been on the list quite a bit. Like I mentioned, it came down and found some support here at the 50% retracement line, and we had been following it for the past couple days. I believe we called it back here. Yep, this is on the 10th, end of day. Short-term target was about 377, 399. Okay, the day after didn't really hit, but today it went up and hit the 421. So that's kind of the nice thing about looking at this in chart analysis. a day later is that I get that extra day to see what it did, and you can see it went up and touched those levels. Let's look at the 5-minute chart to see what kind of action we had throughout the day. Of course, this was called on the 10th in the day. Had a price as low as about 356, 357. It was alerted at 367. It had a dip, came down, dipped. Then even at open it dipped, but then it recovered shortly after and hit a high of 368. So it was pretty much a wash on that one. Okay, 0.27 possible gains on that. Not good. RKDA, let's move into that one. Okay, RKDA, we called it here. In the day, we said short term move up to about the $5 range, 509, because we had a nice long candlestick here. I believe it moved about 35% that day. Thought we'd get some matching action, taking it up to the 509 level. It didn't do that. It had about half the volume. However, it was finding support at the 5-day and the 20-day moving average the next day. Let's switch to the 5-minute chart. Get a good idea of what the action did. It actually did a pretty well after hours. Again, this is something I wanted to point out. After hours, it hit as high as 495. I just want to encourage you guys. Alerted at 461. Okay, right about here, where it started to take off and do that cupping and handle pattern. So 461, it went up and hit almost $5 for sure here after hours. So before 8 o'clock, you had a couple hours to trade in the 490 range. Is where I would recommend trying to get out if you have the ability to trade after hours. We've been seeing lately in the mornings that it has been dipping off. And you can see it went down and went through all these retracement levels, hit as low as 410 there, and then even lower below 4 here before recovering. So that was RKDA. So that one, the 3% was 475. High of the day was 467. So that was 1.30% potential gain to trade out at that level. All right, so moving out of this session, again, I want to thank you for joining me for the end-of-day plays for the 11th of December. Again, that's SNOA INNT ASNS and RKDA. So we'll close out this session here. Thanks for joining me at $1stockpicks.com, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you and goodbye.